Zach, show me the money. $17 billion in battery investments right here in America, all in the span of just 2 months. Can you believe how much money is flowing into the economy? Soon to be flowing into the
Right when you
economy.
said show me the money, I was about to like pull out my wallet. I don't carry any cash on me. Then you said 17 billion, and it didn't go in the right direction. That's a lot of money being invested. Is this a direct result of the EV tax incentives? That's got to be, right?
Yeah, for sure, because all the investments I'm talking about today are all announced just since the enactment of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, interestingly named. But here we have $17 billion of EV battery announcements announced. And right here, let's kick it off, shall we? I mean, I want to list these out for the viewers because this is all really good news for the American economy.
Let's hear it. Yeah, and I think I even just read this morning in automotive news. I don't know which Chinese company, but a Chinese company was opening. Yep, yeah. So no, these headlines are like every single day popping up. So let's hear it.
Yeah, that's what we're kicking it off with. Chinese battery maker Goshen. Probably Goshen. I don't know.
Probably Goshen,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know.
Gotion sounds kind of cool. They are spending $3.6 billion. This is breaking news. While adding 500 jobs, probably in the Detroit area, maybe in Michigan in general, not quite sure where, but they're investing nearly $4 billion in a battery plant here in America. They're a Chinese-based company. Why would they come to America to build their EV batteries that they supply to a number of automakers? Well, it looks like the tax credits are definitely doing something, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You know, when those tax incentives were first announced as part of the Inflation Reduction Act, it was interesting to think, okay, are General Motors, Ford, all these U.S. automakers, even the non-U.S. automakers who produce vehicles here, Hyundai, Kia, etc., are they going to have to find different battery suppliers who are here in the United States and Canada, etc.? We spent a lot of time talking about that. Actually, it seems like the reality is the Chinese companies that are producing these batteries are going to create operations here in the United States because they've got so much demand from these OEMs. And that kind of makes sense. So this is probably one of the first dominoes of many to fall of Asian companies setting up operations in the United States so that they feed the supplies to the OEMs. Those OEMs essentially are saying, hey, our demand is going to skyrocket, set up some sort of shop here so that we can all win. It kind of makes sense. Because like the infrastructure doesn't exist in Chile for all of the battery production we need, even though Chile has the free trade agreement with the United States.
Yeah, the new clean vehicle credit, as they call it, built into the Inflation Reduction Act, it's really a battery supply chain credit. Previously, the original credit was about battery capacity. You get an incentive based on how large your battery is. Well, that's no longer the case. It's all about where the battery comes from. Batteries need to be sourced from North America or free trade agreement countries. Now, the largest battery maker in the world is not on that list. It's CATL. CATL is based out of China. Even they are saying that they have firm plans. They haven't announced exactly where yet for building a battery production plant right here in North America by 2026. Some of these announcements that we're going over today, they're not in effect immediately, but they are great news nonetheless if you're interested in the new EV tax credits, which could be up to $7,500.
I know you're going to go through the list, but I will say when these tax credits were initially announced, it was a bit of a poo-poo on them because not a lot of vehicles qualify, and it doesn't really seem that useful. The reality is they're not meant to be useful for you and me right now. They're meant to get this infrastructure in place where these companies have operations in the United States, so we're less dependent on China so that we can actually produce these things here domestically. That is happening. These headlines that you're going to continue to list out, that is the first step that needed to happen. The second step, the third step, us actually leveraging the tax credits. So this is good to hear. Buying a car? Let the team at YAA help. Use the code FALL20 and save 20% on a YAA membership, or use FALL100 and save $100 on an extended warranty.
Building a $4 billion battery production facility takes time, but it looks like by the middle of this decade, which, well, we're getting close to, batteries will be pumping out of U.S. battery plants. But let's go through the rest of the list because $17 billion. I'll go through it quickly. Honda and LG Energy Solutions announced $4.4 billion going into an EV battery production plant, probably in Ohio. That's the rumor, but not confirmed yet. Panasonic, $4 billion building batteries for mostly Tesla in Kansas. Ultium, which is really a big partnership between LG Energy Solutions and General Motors. They are investing $2.6 billion in Indiana. List goes on. I got one more big one for you. North Carolina's been all over the EV news lately, and I would say it's been mostly good news. I know some lawmakers have considered outlawing free charging in the whole state, but that's the bad news. Let's talk about the good news, right? Let's talk about the good news.
Sure.
Toyota is investing a total of $3.8 billion in one project in North Carolina to build EV batteries. They're also for their hybrids and plug-in hybrids, of course. And after the Inflation Reduction Act's new vehicle credits were announced, an additional $2.5 billion was announced. So that's included in the $3.8 billion total. That is just a gigantic pile of money. What would $17 billion look like physically? What would it look like? Is it like enough to fill a Walgreens or fill a Walmart? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it depends on the size of the bill, the denomination of it. However, the investments that we're seeing in the United States are really impressive. And honestly, you've got to think CATL still hasn't announced what they're doing in terms of investment. That $17 billion number, when we look back on it, will probably be small. It'll probably end up being hundreds of billions of dollars in investments in the United States so that these supply chains can run domestically. Although there's a really interesting piece here, which is where are you sourcing the raw earth materials for the batteries? That's a whole other video, a whole other question. But we are seeing the foundation be laid to be able to produce domestically. And I bet you it's the tip of the iceberg. We're going to see more investment in the United States, which, again, was the intent behind that whole bill. Do not be misguided. That was the goal.
So why are these $17 billion worth of announcements good news for you, the consumer? In theory, which I think this will turn out to be the case, it would bring more price stability to EV supply chains, jobs for America, right? And the announcements we just went over, the $17 billion worth of announcements, altogether, there's over 6,000 jobs as part of those announcements. That is a lot of jobs. But there are so many announcements we didn't even go over here today. Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Hyundai. Automakers are investing in America's EV future, and it's all really happening in the past 2 months since the IRA was passed. So this is pretty cool news, isn't it, Zach?
It's damn good news. Now we just need to see EV prices come down.
Yeah, that's a talk for another day.
Another day indeed. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.